Si coltivano ovunque, si coltivano ovunque, Hi, you just caught me brushing up on my Italian. This packet of seeds just arrived from Italy without an English translation. What I do know is that the onions that sprout from this packet of seeds will make a fantastic addition to a martini. Cheers, and I'm already looking forward to one. Hi, I'm Antony John, and welcome to the Manic Organic. I may not understand Italian, but I love Italian food. And tonight, just like my produce, I'm going straight from the field to the kitchen. First, as a producer, I'll be taking in some Italian vegetables, organic arugula, Cipollini onions, and an Italian salad mix. Then I'll be putting on my chef's apron and working the line in the kitchen. We'll be making some fantastic Italian dishes, including tenderloin of veal with organic Cipollini onions and wilted greens. It's going to be fantastic. Because our farm is totally organic, everything that goes into our produce is nature's goodness. No pesticides here. Italy produces some of the best tasting vegetables. For example, we have biancariccia frisée. I just love saying that word. We have red rib dandelion, red long atropia onions, great on the barbecue, Cipollini onions, more about them later, and my favorite, I'm saving the best for last, arugula, also known as roquette or rocket in England. It's a member of the mustard family. I can't stop eating it. It tastes so fantastic. It's got a peppery, assertive flavor. The important thing to remember about arugula is that pepperiness goes away if it sits on the shelf for a couple of days. So you've got to find someone who's growing it close to you or grow it fresh yourself. The other thing about arugula is trying to grow it conventionally, you've got to hit it with a couple of pesticides to keep all the flea beetles off it. So find an organic source of arugula. Your body will thank you. Arugula is a member of the mustard family, and it behaves just like a mustard. In the summer, when the weather's hot and the sun is very strong, it'll want to bolt to seed or start flowering. So you'll need to make successive sowings about every 2 weeks apart to have a continuous supply. But as soon as the soil warms up in April, you can start planting. Keep going throughout the growing season, and you'll be harvesting arugula into December outside. And plant the rows about a foot apart and very, very shallow. And you're just pressing the soil around the top of the arugula to get them into the top of the seed bed. They've got to have that sunlight to germinate. You know, I'm really good at pushing babies around malls after doing this for a day. Now, if you don't have a pinpoint seeder, lay out your line nice and straight with your string. Take your spade, you're just sort of making a little nick in the soil more or less. We're using untreated arugula seed because we're growing organic. Fill your seed trowel with some, pretty close to the furrow. Just tap it along. You can grow it pretty close together. Nice line like that. Now we're going to take our rake, and you don't need to rake soil over the arugula at all. You're just going to tamp it down into the seed bed. The biggest challenge to growing organic arugula and mustards is insect damage. This is caused by Japanese flea beetles. There's no natural predator for them around where we are. Within a couple of days, they feed voraciously on an arugula crop. They can smell the seedlings and attack it immediately. And if we don't get them covered, this is what we end up with. Arugula plants shot full of holes, and once they get into your crop, they'll stay there. This entire bed of arugula, because we've had a breach in the defenses, is now done. Now you're going to get flea beetles in your garden at home, so you need to get yourself one of these floating row crop covers. Just need to roll it out. Might be a little hard. Oh. Hey, Lawrence of Arugula.
I've rolled out the row cover, and now we have to bury the margins. You don't need to use a lot of dirt, just enough to weigh it down and form a continuous barrier all the way around your row cover. About 2 weeks after the plants emerge, your arugula is ready to harvest as seedlings. Now just roll the row cover back only as much as you need to harvest. You don't want to expose too much of the row, otherwise the flea beetles will get in and the sun will tend to dry out your plants. Now thinning them at this stage accomplishes two things. By taking some out of the row, the ones that are left behind will benefit from the increased light and space, and they'll grow even faster. But perhaps the most important thing is that at this size, once you just clip the roots off and try them like this, oh, it's fabulous. You can't beat that flavor. They're so mellow and nutty. It's an unbelievable flavor. Use them as a garnish or in the salad, just like this. Oh, hi. I guess you found me in my arugula bed.
If you like onions, and who doesn't, we'll harvest some Cipolinis next for tonight's recipe. And we'll meet two of my favorite garden friends.
Now here on our organic farm, we keep the arugula undercover because the biggest problem is insects. But with onions, it's another story entirely. Here, you still can't see the crop, but this time it's because it's covered in weeds. This might be a good time to introduce you to another principle of organic gardening. You must never give up, Rocky. At this point, you're not aiming for total eradication. You're just cleaning the row up a bit. Ta-da! Told you there'd be something under these weeds. These are Cipollini onions. The name means little sweetheart in Italian, and I think they're well named because they're my favorites. They're sweet, they're great grilled on the barbecue or roasted, and they come in a lot of different colors. Here's a white one called Bianca di Magia, and this is the red variety. They're a great treat to grow in your garden, and you don't see them often in grocery stores, so I really recommend growing them out for yourself. Cipollini onions make a great candidate for the home gardener because they're a nice small size. You can grow them in just about any container. This flower pot here will work just fine. Just shake some of the seed out into your seeding trowel and scatter it on the surface. Don't be too worried about where they fall. They don't need a lot of room with each other. That's fine. Take our onion bag, put some soil on top of them, about 1/4 inch. Tamp it down, water it in, and in about 90 days, you'll be having the sweetest onions you've ever eaten. Now this is one of our garden allies. This is a common toad, and these little guys eat all kinds of insects that would otherwise bother your crops, like slugs. They're good little friends to have in your garden, so when you find them, let them be. This is another ally we'll find in our garden, a praying mantis. They're voracious predators. They'll eat all sorts of aphids and other insects. Whenever we find a praying mantis in the garden, to us, it's always a sign that the organic system's working and all the proper beneficial insects are living alive and happy. Hey you,
Hey, stranger. Where have you been all morning?
Taking phone calls. I just got one from Dean at Pazzo, and he wonders if we can get a couple of pounds of Italian mix for him.
Well, how soon?
A couple hours.
Yeah, okay.
Good. I'll tell him.
Take care of it.
Thanks.
All right.
See you, love.
See ya.
This is the salad mix that we're going to be using at Pazzo today. Now, most Italian greens tend towards the bitter side, and they balance that out with the dressings using a sweeter dressing like balsamic vinegar. We keep this in mind when we're putting together these Italian mixes for the restaurants. For color and mellow flavor, we've got Rainbow Lights Chard. It's a lot like spinach, and that helps to balance out some of the more bitter leafy greens like Frise, Bianco de Chia. We even make use of some of the wild weeds on our farm. This is purslane, wild purslane. It's kind of got a watermelon rind flavor. It's very, very succulent and crunchy, and it's really good for you. And the star of this salad mix, arugula. I got to get these greens off to Pazzo and clean up myself for kitchen duty.
I am the pasta twice just because they are so nice. Cipollina. Cipollina's onions at the pizzeria. Ooh, I eat super minestrone. I could eat them with bologna. Cipollina.
As soon as I'm washed up, I'll deliver my organic produce to Pazzo's and help prepare today's special, stuffed veal tenderloin with Cipollini onions and wilted arugula.
Well, arrivederci fermi. Buonasera, Pazzo. The Cipollini Lamborghini is on its way.
Today I'm off to Stratford to deliver an order of organic greens and some vegetables for tonight's dinner at Pazzo's. I'm often called into the restaurant to help out in the kitchen, and it means never having to say goodbye to my vegetables.
Hey, buonasera, chef.
Antony John, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Got some of your stuff here.
Well then, as long as you've got Cipollinis, I think we're ready.
Armed and ready.
Okay, well great. Well,
What do we got tonight?
Got about 100 of my closest friends coming in for dinner, so we'll slip you into something comfortable and
I'm
get
ready,
started.
I guess.
All right.
Let's go.
Compared to farming, I would say professional chefdom is basically a cakewalk. It's all there in containers for you. You never have to look for the ingredients. It's all prepared, consistent, reliable quality there. And you just have to reach for it, and it's on a plate. So, yeah, I could take more of this.
Italian food is all about passion, and in the hands of a master, it's a transporting experience. With me today is Dean Iliev. He's the Il Comandante of Aladante. He's the Fellini of Cuisine. And he's gonna show us today how to make one of his best dishes here at Pazzo, stuffed veal tenderloin with Cipollini onions from our farm and organic arugula, also from our farm. So Dean, walk us through this.
All right, we're gonna start off with the veal.
Okay.
So I'll give you one, and you do as I say. Just put your knife in, just make a little X incision there so you can stuff the veal.
Okay.
Okay, put your finger in there, enlarge the hole.
Right.
All right, so just take some of this braised veal that we have.
Okay.
We just stuff it into the tenderloin.
So we want something that's nice and rich in here, huh?
Yeah, something fatty. You can use foie gras or pate or even some cooked veal sausage. That's fine.
Lovely.
And now I've got some caul fat. We're gonna wrap the veal tenderloin in the caul fat.
Caul fat is a delicate, lacy pork product that your local butcher can provide.
So we're just gonna make a little envelope.
Okay.
Seal up the veal. It just keeps the veal moist, and it also keeps the stuffing in there.
Okay.
Which is where it should be. And these will go into a hot pan.
Okay.
A little bit of oil in. If you can place those in for me.
Sure thing.
Once you browned it on both sides, put the veal in the oven at 400 degrees for 15 minutes.
Flip them. Nice.
now we're going to move on to the Cipollini onions. Now these are cooked, simpler is better, right? So
yeah, the less you can do. I like roasting the onions. I like roasting a lot of root vegetables. Just concentrates the flavor, brings out the sweetness.
So you don't want to mask it, just enhance it, huh?
Let it taste like what it tastes like.
And do you know why these taste so good on my farm?
The love. They're grown with love.
Okay, so we want a knob of butter.
A little bit of butter. Seasoning.
After sautéing the onions, put them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes or until soft.
Put that in the oven.
Now it's time to move on to the most important part of the dish, I think, the sauce. Dean, why don't you take us through this one?
That's right. So we've got the ingredients in the fridge here. I'll let you bring those out.
Okay.
You pass me the butter, which we've got softened. I'll get you a rasp, a little bit of garlic, 2 cloves.
Use about 1 pound of butter.
Just a little porcini. A little chopped thyme. So give that a stir, and we can whisk that into our sauce and keep that warm. You're an old pro now.
I love butter.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll add the butter, you do the whisking.
Okay.
That's the rule. And we'll just put in a couple tablespoons of the butter.
This is our sauce base. We're using veal stock, but chicken stock can be used instead as long as it's nice and sticky. Oh, that smells so good.
Great, once that's incorporated, just set it to the side and it should be
lovely. Okay. When we come back, Dean and I are going to plate up this fabulous stuffed tenderloin.
I think our onions are probably there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they're
Looking
perfect.
Beautiful. Lovely. So, shiitakes now.
Yep. So add your
I
butter.
got the butter.
Just let them brown, give them a little seasoning. Add your chipollinis.
Chipollinis. Oh, yeah.
There we go. Great. Great. Into that, add a handful of your arugula.
Okay. Now, you don't want to cook that too long, right, Dean?
Right, you just want to wilt it down. The one thing you don't want to forget is the seasoning. Never forget the seasoning.
Beautiful.
All right, if you can pass me the celery root, and I'll plate up a little of this.
Okay.
So mound in the middle of the plate, and you can spread the vegetables over top.
A little bit more. Celeriac puree is made just like mashed potatoes. Boil, drain, butter, milk, squish.
Now, you don't want to wilt the arugula too much, right?
Oh, no, just keep it fresh. Just let it break down a little. That's perfect.
Okay.
All right, split that between the 2 plates. While you're doing that, I'll carve the veal.
Boy, it smells incredible right now. We've got that sweet, sweet caramelized onions.
Okay, so we're just gonna put a little bit of the veal around. The last thing, I'll leave you the honors.
Uh-oh. Thank you, sir.
Great. Just ladle a bit of sauce on top.
Oh, that's amazing, Dean.
Great.
Smells wonderful. So, on
Just
top and around?
Ladle a bit around and a bit on top.
There.
That's it. That's perfect.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
You're
Smells even
natural.
better. You're a clever guy. Now we got a reward for ourselves at the end of all this, don't we?
How so?
Cipollini martini.
My kind of cook.
There you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Job well done. Now, kitchen slang for busy is in the weeds. Now that's a term I can relate to. I'm run off my feet just trying to keep up.
Well, at the farm, I'm used to things running to my own schedule and my own pace, but here we've got about 90 people that are dictating the pace outside, so we've got to keep moving here inside.
Once the paying people are all taken care of, it's time to take care of my friends. It's always great to work with a chef like Dean, who has a deep commitment to using the finest locally grown ingredients. The reward is wonderful food, lively conversation, and sometimes fuzzy memories shared around the dinner table at Pazzo's. Everybody, something, something, sometimes. It was a treat to experience the frenetic pace in a well-oiled kitchen, but I'm ultimately happiest firmly planted on the good soil of my farm.
I'm Antony John, the Manic Organic, a man outstanding in his field.